I've called the meeting to order. Mr. Dingler, will you read us the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First item on the agenda is to approve our agenda. Second. Motion by Weiss, second by Dingler. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. This time we'll open the meeting up for any public comment from anyone who wishes to address the commission this morning on any topic that isn't on the agenda. Anyone out there online or on the phone? Seeing none, we will move on. Chris Heeman, Weed and Pest Supervisor, award chemical bids.
There he is.
Morning, Chris.
Just got over you. Saved by the best.
Morning.
Morning.
We can catch your breath and then we'll start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had a hard enough time catching my breath driving in today. That was fun. So after going through everything that we opened, normally we've gone through just the one supplier in the past. Between them, the bid with Nutrien, going through one, Van Diest, it'd be around $55,000 for everything on the list at that quantity. Nutrien would be around $52,000 if we went with them and Adapco for the ULV. If we split everything up and just went with the lowest bid on everything, it'd be about $44,800, so quite a bit of savings. I know it's always been a hassle in the past, but I think with the, I think what I'd like to do is recommend that we just award to everyone based on price and availability. Go off the lowest bid for everybody and save a few bucks that way.
Second. Motion by Weiss, second by Dennert to accept the chemical bids. Any further discussion?
We do appreciate all of those submitting their proposals.
And if we can save a little money, that's good too.
Exactly.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right.
Ends up being about 20%.
Yeah, that's good. Alrighty. Oh, I guess, what's the next one?
Approve and authorize chairman to send weed and pest grants.
Forgot about that. I don't know if you guys have any questions on that or anything, but so the one grant that we were approved for, okay, that's just the Department of Ag one, the WP 26-3. That's one granted through the Department of Ag for, that's the contractual grant, usually around between $5,500 and $6,500 that we use for, mainly for chemical supplies for the fair booth. We've used it in the past for radio ads, haven't done that for a while. The second one, WPC 26-4, that's for the biocontrol that we've been doing for the past 2 years, I think. This will be the third try where we're putting Macinus janthinus weevils out on yellow toadflax to see if that offers any control. I think this is going to be the last year we tried. If we can't get them to establish, it's not really working, but that's a $2,000 grant that we were approved for. And the last one, WPC 26-5, that's the mapping project. We so in the past few years, what we've been doing when we see yellow toadflax on state highways or township roads or basically anywhere just on the shoulder of the road, we've been stopping, hand spraying it just to stop it from spreading in the county. It's kind of an ounce of prevention, pound of cure situation. We don't have the bid for the state highways. That goes out to, I think, usually Mid-Dakota Vegetation gets it. We just don't have the manpower to really tackle that one. But if we let it go, yeah, it's definitely going to spread, then we're going to really have our hands full chasing that around the county. So what we did last year with our new data loggers is anytime we found a spot, we stopped, hand sprayed it. So what we're trying to do is kind of show some of the other counties and also kind of measure ourselves to see if this spot spraying is doing any good. We've had some spots that we've kind of basically eradicated.
See if you have emergence or not.
Right. So what we did last year, as we were spraying it, we mapped each area. So what we're going to do this year is go around. We were approved for, I believe it was $1,000 grant money to help cover the equipment and chemical costs doing that. The chemical's really not that much. I think we went through like maybe 10, 15 gallons of mix overall, which is really nothing. So it's mainly for the hours and the equipment, just chasing around the county. We do a lot of the mapping on the bad weather days, so we can just go out there if it's too windy or if it's raining or whatever. We can still go out and do some road hunting and then come out and spray it later. So this is just kind of a way to get a little bit of funds for the state and from the state to help cover the cost of spraying the state highways.
Very good.
Well, thanks for doing that too, because, rising tide lifts all boats, because if that becomes a problem, it's gonna spread onto our roads too.
Yeah,
So
yep.
You're doing the right thing.
Yep, I know Dennis Weigert was always worried. He said that he's worried that was gonna be our next leafy spurge that we get, this yellow-toed flax. And that stuff, once it blooms, it's really hard to miss. It's just a big neon yellow spot on the side of the road, so.
Sure. All right.
Move.
Motion by Weiss. Second by Denner to approve. Authorize the chairman to sign these weed and pest grants. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Cash the checks quick, huh?
Yep, exactly.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next up, second reading, possible adoption of the following ordinances. Lynn.
Ordinance 290, an ordinance amending Title IV, second revision, Brown County ordinances as amended, to rezone certain described property filed by Brown County Planning and Zoning to go from Ag Preservation District to municipal.
Is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 290? Scott's been working on this for a while now to bring all of the county-owned properties and so on into compliance, and so they're properly zoned.
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Gage. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Scott, for your efforts on that. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sam.
Okay. Ordinance 291, an ordinance amending Title IV, second revision, Brown County ordinances as amended, to rezone certain described properties petitioned by Northwestern Energy, Robert Gem, owners Donald Young and Harlan Young, to go lots 1 and 3 from Ag Preservation District to Heavy Industrial District, and rezone lot 2 from Multi-Zone District to Ag Preservation District.
Is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 291? Anyone wish to offer any comments? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Robert Gem. I'm the senior real estate representative for Northwestern Energy in South Dakota, Nebraska. Well, I understand this is the last step for this rezone. Are there any questions before we move on regarding what we're trying to do there? As far as rezoning the land, heavy industrial for a power plant and potentially an LNG plant.
I don't have any. I think you've done a good job of keeping us informed, going through the planning and zoning process, and it's been pretty well laid out what your intentions are, and there are things you'll need to do going forward, obviously, to get that project started, but the rezone is kind of the first step in making that happen, so we appreciate the steady supply of information and how well informed you kept us all. So.
Good.
Scott?
We had a lot of inquiries in planning and zoning office over the project in the beginning, when letters went out and stuff, but they did a really good job explaining at the meeting what all was gonna be done, and there wasn't any opposition to it.
Good.
So, that
Kind
actually
of
turned out
projects
to
we like to
be,
hear, yeah.
not very often, but
Yep.
it turned out to be a good location and a good fit, so worked out good.
Very good.
I think it is good. Motion to approve.
One thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Second, but one thing quick, just as a reminder, this is a rezone for the property. When you guys get your actual plans together, they come through again for the conditional use permit, so the public still has plenty of opportunity to speak on anything that they may or may not like or dislike, and at least be informed of what's going on. So-
Exactly.
That. All right, we have a motion by Weiss and a second by Gage. Is there any further discussion? We appreciate you coming in today and offering your advice. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Safe travels.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
Next up, Gene Letsky, Equalization Director with annual conference, before we start the equalization process.
Yep.
Yep.
SDCL 10/3/14 Annual Conference of Commissioners and Directors. The Director of Equalization shall meet with the County Commission at the Office of the County Commissioners on the first meeting of April for conference in reference to performance of the Director's duties. April 1 is probably not a good day for that, but that's where we are.
Calendar does what it does.
So, in any event, if you have any questions, comments there, that's fine. Otherwise, we can talk about how equalization is going to come up. So we're good there. Okay. Next Tuesday, equalization starts. We can do county equalization in the morning, I think, is what we'll have,
Yep,
right after
11.
commission. We'll take care of our, meeting and organizing as a board. We'll get rid of our exempt status, senior freezes, all that stuff, that's all the paperwork they've just taken care of. Hopefully have a few, stipulated values to get rid of right there. County board's gonna be really, really light this year. I don't think we can get through everything on the first day. I got a couple that are still, not, satisfied with where we're at, so we may meet again on the 15th. But there again, there's only about 3 or 4. I think we can do that all on the morning for county equalization. Consolidated equalization, we'll meet next Tuesday afternoon to open as a board. We're gonna have some stipulations and things to take care of there, so no sense in just coming and meeting and organizing and taking 2 minutes and leave. We'll get rid of whatever we can that first day. We can still appeal up till today. I did get a couple, actually quite a few, about 10 appeals yesterday, so I'm not really sure where we're gonna be as far as if I have some of those ready to resolve on the first day or not. Typically, we meet the second time for consolidated on the not the next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. So the 22nd is what we're looking at for the afternoon of the 22nd for consolidated. Hopefully, I can have some of these new ones resolved by then, or if we'll have people come in that are you know, still not satisfied with our agreements or whatever. There is the one day available yet, the 29th. Hopefully, we don't have to meet, but that day is available in case there's any cleanup work at all. Otherwise, it's gonna be a really quiet equalization year. Otherwise, that's kind of where I'm at. That's what we got.
That's good to hear. Another light year.
Yeah, really light year.
Yeah.
Actually been kind of surprising in the office, expecting a lot more and kind of sitting around waiting for the phone to ring, but it's not been happening. But still today, so hopefully nobody heard me.
Yep. They did. Well, we're not experiencing some of the spikes that some of the counties are, and so
Yep.
things are pretty constant.
Yep.
Pretty
And some of the
normal,
things
so.
that some of the counties, I know, people talk about a tax shift, you know, from one to the other. Actually, what really happens, is that there's really not a shift from class to class that people worry about. There's a shift within a class itself from one part of the county to another part of the county. So owner occupied, I know, out with Black Hills, Sioux Falls, those kind of areas are, you know, a lot of noise about owner occupied taxes, but that's because the state revenue treats the entire state as one school district. So every school district in the state has the exact same mill levy. So if you're in an area out in Black Hills or Sioux Falls that's raising 20-25% at a time, meanwhile Aberdeen's raising 10, wherever Eagle Butte maybe is raising maybe 5 or 6, or Timberlake or those, the shift really isn't from class to class. The shift is from those regions to regions, and maybe that's something that needs to be looked at some point. That South Dakota should be divided into regions or something at the school level.
Did you say neighborhoods?
No, I said regions. We don't talk about neighborhoods. Now we do a little bit. But, you know, that's maybe something, and that never gets brought up. You know, people worry about the shift from owner-occupied to ag, owner-occupied to non-ag, but really the biggest issue is the shift from region to region. South Dakota is not a very good one-size-fits-all state, and that's where the problem is.
Yep.
But anyway,
All right,
all I have for comments, if you have anything.
no questions.
Cool.
Yeah, and we're fortunate or unfortunate to have such an interesting balanced mix
We do.
of classes
We do.
compared to most counties that are lopsided one way or the other.
Probably pretty representative of the state. We're about 40% ag, about 60% non-ag. And that's kind of where the state as far as our assessment. Again, taxes, you start looking at how the school levies change. We kind of change like the state does. If you look at what our school levies are, school general, the shift never really happens. Over the past 15 years, ag, owner-occupied, non-ag have pretty much kept the same taxes through Brown County as like the state does. We're set up just like South Dakota. There's other counties that have a shift from one to the other a little more because they aren't like we are.
Aren't balanced the way we have.
Yeah, but we're balanced, and the state sets the school levies accordingly every year to match up how the dispersion of assessments are from month to year, to make sure there's not a shift to school levies statewide. Well, it works good in Brown County, it doesn't work in a lot of counties, but, we happen to be one where it does.
Sure.
That's all.
Very good.
All right.
Scott, did you have a question?
Yeah, real quickly, now that the governor's starting off on 216, which deals with these assessments, how's that impacting the department you're working in right now?
The one that passed,
Yes, and signed by the governor.
the one signed by the governor, what that does, it will, limit owner-occupied assessment countywide to a 3% increase. So that does allow an assessor to keep doing their job. It keeps neighborhoods, there's my word again, in proportion to each other. So in case, if we do have neighborhoods that are moving faster than others, we can still keep that relation and correlation correct. What that does then, though, is we have to bring everything back to a 3% increase over the prior year. So say small acreages in our lake properties seem to be our fastest growing properties. Well, in real life, maybe they need to increase 10% and versus the town at 6%. We can do that, and then look at, okay, where were we last year, where are we going to get to this year to get that last year plus 3% gets us a total. We can bring both of them down to a point where we're at that 3% increase. So maybe the lake goes up 5%, town goes up 2%, overall we're up 3%, but we still keep that correlation right between one neighborhood or one town or whatever within the county to
The way it's written and interpreted, the 3%'s an aggregate percentage. It's not on specific properties.
Correct. It's not on specific properties. And there were bills that were meant that way. There was bills that were, you set a value at a base value and then 3% increase. What that does is just gets you out of whack from neighborhood to neighborhood. There was a bill that failed, Bill 191, which set a base number, and that base number would change anytime there was a transaction. What people don't realize is that we got about 1,500 transactions in the county every year. About 500 of them have money exchange. If you set up, if you go from your retirement plan, you set your property into an estate, suddenly that's a new transaction and suddenly you have a new base value to start going from. If you have an older couple, and this is one where I'm sure nobody wanted to see, you have an older couple, been in their house for 40 years, you have a base year, one of them dies, and suddenly you have a transfer from to the new spouse, you have a new base to set from, and suddenly you have this person that suddenly has lost a spouse, plus a new base on their assessment that may have been frozen for the last 20 years, that suddenly gets a big jump. Some of the things that I'm sure, when it's written up, looks like a good idea, but some of the things that really have some bad...
The unintended consequences.
Unintended consequences, yeah.
Yep.
Well, not everybody's old enough to remember the Y and Z fiasco that we got into with ag property, and that sounded like a good idea to take the top off of the average, but you don't get a median if you don't have everybody in on it. And
Hey, Y, Egg, Z, I was here for those.
a few of us were.
Yep. All right.
You good on that?
Good conversation.
All
Good,
right.
Gene.
Thank you, Gene.
Thanks, Gene.
Appreciate you
See you
and your
next
staff.
week.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, next up, John Lemke, Chief Deputy Sheriff, and Keith Baker, Deputy Sheriff.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gentlemen.
Guys.
How you doing today?
Good. We are here to request using some of the opioid settlement funds for, basically a padded cell in the jail, I think. I don't know if you guys all got the proposal to look at, so if you want, I can read through the whole thing, or just kind of give you the highlights. So,
Highlights is fine.
basically, we're looking to put in a padded cell in the jail, just for safety of everyone involved, essentially. The inmate in question that might be, suffering withdrawals from opioid use or any kind of narcotics with that co-occurring mental health aspect to it. Gives a safer environment for them to basically decompress. They're not going to injure themselves on the concrete walls, and safer for our jail staff then as well to not have to go hands-on with these people all the time. So that's, in a nutshell, what we're looking to do is use some of that opioid settlement money to either offset or cover the cost of that, putting that room in the jail.
And I haven't read through the rules and regulations or requirements, but is that obviously that is your opinion that that is a justifiable use of those funds?
When I read through it, I feel it fits, in my opinion, it's a withdrawal management service for people with opioid use disorder and co-occurring mental health conditions, as well as another spot it falls in here is, it's a recovery support, harm reduction, and other appropriate services to individuals with the opioid use disorder and the co-occurring substance use disorder mental health conditions who are incarcerated in jail or prison. That's how it reads in there, so.
And estimated cost?
I think the last estimate we got was $48,000 for that, to retrofit the one holding cell in the jail with the padded room, so.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve the request for submission.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Gage to approve the funding request of the use of the opioid funds. Is there any further discussion?
Remind me how much is left in that.
Right now, about 87.
Do we think, you think that'll qualify, we'll go totally fund it with that money?
I think the last quote the sheriff got was at $48,000, right around that ballpark.
Okay.
Which, I think that's gone up significantly from a year or two ago, a year and a half ago when we first started looking at this, so I think the sooner the better to...
So if we prove it here today, it's final, it doesn't need to get additional approval from the provider of the grant, okay?
Yeah.
Okay? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next up, approve and authorize chairman to sign a quote from Huff Construction to revise the Public Defender's Office. That was in the packet. You saw the quote. Before we get to that, we do have our new public defender, first day on the job. Brad Borg is with us today, and so he's ready to hit the ground running, and once he figures out where the ground is, and we'll turn the setting up of that office over to him. We need to start with making some revisions to that area that we're going to house that office in directly below us and to the north, in the lower level of the annex here.
We appreciate your input and trying to keep it as minimal as possible, but still make it appropriately functional for you, so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
We're happy you're here.
I am too, except for this weather.
I told him if he brought the moisture with him, thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Weiss, second by Dennert to approve the quote from Huff Construction. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Good luck down there.
Thank you.
Next up, discuss burn ban. Last week, conditions were considerably different. We were having some warm, sunny, dry days, and I reached out to our emergency management director after a few, or at least a couple of our surrounding counties had already enacted a burn ban. And I know I was approached whether we were considering it. We do have a mechanism in place which is an automatic trigger based on the fire danger level, and when it reaches, I think it's the extremely high, or I can't remember the exact classification, when it reaches that extremely high level, it automatically enacts the burn ban. We haven't reached that level yet this year, and last week, I mean, it was, conditions were such that it warranted at least discussing it. With the moisture we had on Saturday, and now obviously the continued moisture today, Scott Mines, Emergency Management Director, said that we really no longer need to discuss it, but we wanted to make everyone aware that we were cognizant of the fact that we were dry with high wind conditions and the dryness. It did have the potential for, you know, a catastrophic event in the event that a fire would get out of control. And we've had a few smaller fires in the county, but hopefully this moisture remedies that and things start greening up quickly. And going forward, if the rain and the moisture stops, again, that mechanism is already in place to trigger it when and if we get back to those conditions. So
We were teetering on it very close.
Yep.
Several of our surrounding counties that did enter that for a period of time over the last 2 weeks, so.
Right.
I think it's good for us to have the conversation, but we do have that mechanism in place.
Yep. All right, if there's no questions on the burn ban, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Lynn?
Approval of the general meeting minutes of March 25th.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dinger, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims.
Move. Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
HR report.
Move. Second.
Motion by Jenner, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Lease agreement.
Move. Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claim assignment.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dinger, second by Dennert. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Abatement and refund.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dinger, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Set hearing date and authorized publication for a liquor license transfer.
Move. Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Approve updated mileage reimbursement rate.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dennert, second by Weiss. We got notification of this, and we decided, I think, last year or the year before, that we would follow the state rates. They in turn, they had agreed to just follow the federal rates. We were just notified of this. The state, to the best of our knowledge, has not updated their reimbursement rate, so we're authorizing it today so that when the state does update their information to the new rate, then we'll follow. Is that correct? Or do we want to wait to approve this once the state does it?
If you approve it, we can go ahead because it is set by the IRS right now. But if you want to wait for the state to update theirs, that's your guys'
So if we approve it today, we're approving the 70 cents as of, for Brown County as of today.
Follow IRS.
Okay?
Okay with that.
So we're okay with it triggering today? Okay. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
You can use your form.
Any other business to come before the Brown County Commission this morning? We've had a request to go into executive session for personnel. Any legal?
Yeah, we're gonna clear up these.
Move.
Legal. Motion by, and contracts.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Weiss, second by Dinger. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, we are back in session, out of exec with no action as a result. Jessica talked to you about adding that to the next week's agenda. Is there anything else to come before the Brown County Commission this morning?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Gunner, second by Weiss to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.